Everybody, I'm Tasha with the Major Change Group, and today we're going to be talking about credit card delinquencies. Now, the other day I was on Water Your Soil's channel. He had put a video out talking about something that's very concerning, and that's going to be credit card delinquencies. And so I wanted to take a look at this article. That way we can delve down into it a little bit more. Let's take a look. Looking at this article, it's stating that credit card delinquency rates hit an all-time high since 2012. And in the article, it's stating that all stages of credit card delinquencies, and that's going to be 30, 60, and 90-day past due, rose during fourth quarter of 2023, and that's going to be the highest since 2012. Additionally, in the article, it's stating that the rise in credit card usage and debt is particularly concerning because of interest rates are really high right now. The average credit card interest rate has been holding steady at a record high of 21% last week, according to Bankrate database that goes back to 1985. And the previous record high was 19% in July of 1991. So when I take a look at this article, I'm really going to break it down into two parts. And one is going to be our credit report. And then two is going to be paying interest on credit cards. Now, when we take a look at our credit reports and we look at late payments, because the thing is, our credit score is really broken down into 5 parts. So you have your payment history, your credit utilization, your length of credit, new credit, and credit mix. And our payment history is 35% of our credit score. So that's a high percentage. But in my mind, if you want to increase your credit score fast, then you really want to tackle your credit utilization. But see, the only thing is, if you get those late payments on your credit report, 30, 60, or 90 days, it's going to be hard because it's going to take like 7 years for it to fall off of your credit report. So that's why it's very important not to have late payments on our credit report. But I know for myself, I do have late payments on my credit report as well. But when we're looking at late payments or delinquencies, you really have to look at it in 2 different ways. One, because see, you can have a late payment, but it doesn't report to your credit bureau. So, but it can be late and you just have to pay the late fee, or you can call up your creditor and say, well, I was late. Can you take off that late fee, especially if you haven't had a late payment, in a while or ever. But then 2, are you so late that it's reporting to the credit bureau? And so that's where, you really want to, one, find out from your, let's say if it's a credit card, when is your statement date? And really your statement date is when is it going to be reporting to the credit bureau? And as long as you pay off, the late payment or whatever before it reports to the credit bureau, then it doesn't have to be a delinquency. Because when we get delinquencies on our credit report, it really don't look that good. And so I really like the Experience site because the Experience site really breaks down our credit report. And I really like the score ingredient. And so the score ingredient breaks down the factors of our credit report, and you can see that the payment history is 35%. But you can see for mine that my payment history is only good compared to my credit utilization is exceptional because I do pay my credit cards off and I don't have high credit utilization. So see, you can see here, my credit score is good, but that's only because for all of the other areas of my credit report, I make sure that that's in good standings. But I do have late payments on my credit report. And you can see here, I have 5 late payments that were 30 days plus. And then I have 4 late payments that are 60 days plus. But I haven't had a late payment since almost 3 years. And so for me, because really late payments, it can be credit cards or it could be any of your other bills that are reporting to the credit bureau. And so really, we just want to make sure that we're not having any late payments on anything. But for me, I did co-sign on a loan and the loan had some late payments on there. But you can see here, that's almost 3 years, we haven't had any late payments. And so that has, really been good to where I've been able to increase my credit score. But I can say when it first happened, we were getting the late payments on, and it was reporting, to the credit bureau. Like my credit score was like a 680 or 681. Because I can remember when I got my auto loan through Navy Federal, my credit score was a 681. Overall, I think that the main point of the article is one, that we don't want to pay interest on credit cards, especially with the interest rates being over, 21%. But then as well, having those delinquencies on our credit report, 30, 60, or 90 days, it is going to impact us, because I know that it did impact me. If we have late payments and then we have high utilization, and let's say if you have a low length of credit, then it can really impact you. So that's why it's very important for us to understand our credit profile and really look at our overall profile to see in what aspects can I really make sure that my credit report is reported in a good standing. Because especially, let's say for length of credit, like that's something over time that you have to get. So that's not anything that you can impact immediately. But our payment history and our credit utilization, that's something that we can impact immediately. But see, the only thing is, if we get those late payments on there, for one, it's going to stay on our credit report for at least 7 years. And then, over time, especially like for me, 2 years, it doesn't impact me as much. But when it first happened, it didn't look that good. And then especially, let's say if you're trying to go get an apartment or a house, possibly if they see those late payments on there, they're not going to be wanting to rent to you or things like that, because they're going to think that, possibly you don't know how to pay your bills on time. Because I will say, when I had first got those late payments on my credit profile, I had applied for the Chase IHG Premier card and they had denied me. And that was one of the things that they had asked me for. But that was the only time, that impacted me. But what happened was they reconsidered me and they took money from one of my other credit cards. But see, now that it's been 2 years, it hasn't impacted me as much. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to take time. So if we can make sure that we're paying our bills on time, especially in regards to having late payments, but then also understand our, how much money we have coming in compared to going out, so that we're not overspending on credit cards. But then you can also take a look in the description at my 2024 digital budget planner if you're looking for a way to make sure that you are on top of your budget and being organized. Because I think that's the main part as well, making sure that we're organized in our finances. And you can also take a look in the description, if you don't want to purchase my 2024 digital budget planner on my Etsy shop, I do have a free budget as well that you can get. Now, while I do love talking about credit cards all the time, and y'all know I always be trying to apply for credit cards. I already done applied for 2 credit cards in first quarter. And then I'm probably going to be looking at some other credit cards to apply for before the end of the year as well. But it's very important, even though I do like to apply for a lot of credit cards, I have to make sure that one, my credit profile looks good, but then also that I'm managing my finances as well, so that I can know how much money I have coming in compared to going out, so that I can pay the credit cards off every month. But then also just making sure that I'm not paying interest on the credit cards. But even if you do have to pay interest on credit cards, possibly look to see if you can do a balance transfer or things like that. But I can say, especially like in the beginning, several years ago, I paid my fair share of interest, but in the last maybe 7 years, somewhere off in there, I haven't paid interest on it. And I can really say that because I did do financial peace and, the baby steps that Dave Ramsey has. But I really think by doing that, it really helped me to understand, now that I can use credit cards and pay the credit cards off, even though, he doesn't suggest using credit cards. But I think when you understand the foundation of your finances, then you can do this. Because if we're using credit cards to get the points, but then we're paying interest on it, it really doesn't help. So let me know what you think in the comments. I hope that you found this video helpful. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and turn your notification bell on so you'll be notified when new content drops. I thank you so much for watching. Until next time. It's not a game.